Welcome for this onboarding briefing for the Level 1 course on communicating radiation risks in pediatric imaging. I'm Rida Sadki. I will be your guide to this briefing. This is the one time in the course where we will really be just sharing all of the information that we have put together from running many of these courses on what makes the difference between people who actually learners who make it to the end of the course and they're proud to have achieved what was expected of them, and in many cases above and beyond what was expected in the course, and those who unfortunately do not. So hopefully I'll be sharing some of the top tips really that can help you develop your own survival strategy for how you are going to organize your time, your study to actually make it through this demanding course. So I'm going to introduce, of course, the rest of the course team in a little bit, but we're going to dive right in, and we'll be starting right on the dot with Swiss punctuality every week, starting with the mandatory weekly discussion group. So this attendance is mandatory. It's a certification requirement, and it's also important because it's the one time when we will all be together, where everyone from all over the world will be connected to each other, and that is a very powerful connection, and it's a key moment when we'll be asking you to present, to share, to give and receive feedback to each other. So you can see some of the key points of why this is definitely worth attending. And we do have a process. We understand there are legitimate reasons for why in some cases you may not be able to make it, and we do have a procedure for that, which we'll explain in due time. But make every effort to be there. It's really by being there that you will get the most out of it. Now, we will be considering you and treating you as the adult working professionals that you are. So, for example, this is a global course. Geneva for us is the time we use for reference. And so one of your first tasks, you've obviously, for those of you who are in the room, you've obviously done this successfully, is to actually figure it out. What is the local time? When it is 2 p.m. on Thursday in Geneva, what is the local time where you live? So we suggest you can ask Google, you can use a website like time.is. There are many, many different ways to do it. And just before we go any further, I just want to acknowledge, let's see, Anielson Lankar, Ariani Dewi Widodo, Bavik Vaidia, Lumide Alao, Altino Kuna, and there are many more names of colleagues who have joined from all over the world and who are saying hello in the chat. That's wonderful to see. And just if you want your colleagues, fellow participants in the course to see it, you need to go to the bottom of the chat window and select all panelists and attendees. Otherwise, only the panelists will see that. So the other thing I want to call your attention to are some of the ground rules. So do tell us the city and country. And as I say, don't think that this briefing is like is going to be like the discussion group. The discussion group will be interactive. It will be about you speaking, presenting the work that you are doing that particular week, and giving and receiving feedback to and from your colleagues with, of course, the subject matter experts from WHO and its partners also just giving feedback. Now, today's briefing is really about giving you the information you need to make it through the course. So please do not be shy. It is much better to use the Q&A tool. So if you're on your phone, it looks like this. You look for the little Q&A button, and there you will see both. You can ask a question, and you'll also be able to vote on the questions. If you see the little little hand with a raised thumb, you click on that, and you can ask your questions. Now, really, we have actually quite an ambitious agenda and a lot of information. If I go too fast, remember that we'll be sharing the recording and the slides, and you'll be able to take however much time you need in order to really make sense of what is going to be expected of you. I'm going to be sharing, giving you the really, hopefully everything you need to know to really get off to a good start with the course. If you're here and you made it to the onboarding briefing, that's already a very good sign that you've been following along. Now, right now we are a room full of strangers. All right. So what we want to do about that is actually share a little bit about who we are as a group, introduce the course team, and then we'll tell you a little bit about you, all right? So first of all, very pleased to introduce the 3 subject matter experts who will be leading the course, the faculty, if you will, for this global course. For the sake of time, I'm going to ask each one to very briefly introduce themselves and just say a word for the participants who are here. We'll start with Dr. Maria del Rosario Perez, who is the convener of this course, and then her colleagues Joanna Kasnier-Brown and Donald Frush. Maria?
Good afternoon good morning, good afternoon to everybody. I am Maria del Rosario Perez. I work in the World Health Organization, and I am here taking part in this course as a course team member together with Don, Joanna, Ja, and Reda. So welcome to all of you.
Great, thank you, Maria. Yeah. Joanna?
Good morning, good evening, everyone, wherever you are. I'm Joanna Kasnier-Brown, and I'm pediatric radiologist in UK, and I live in Bristol, in the south part of UK. And I see here now, I'm just during my working time at the hospital during lunch break. And I just want to say hello to everyone. And I'm very, very pleased to have such a fantastic group, and we'll be joining with you every week and doing this course together. Welcome.
Thank you, Joanna. And I'm betting that blue is a popular color amongst this group. Now, Donald Frush, if you would kindly introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Don Frush, and I am a pediatric radiologist on the East Coast of the United States, North Carolina. And it's a real pleasure to share the course with those that have organized it, and Joanna and Maria in particular, but wanted to let you all know that we're walking through these weeks together, and I look forward to learning from you all as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks to all three of you. Here's what you can expect from the subject matter experts in the course. And now to introduce the Geneva Learning Foundation team. We're not going to do individual introductions, but you've already heard from us, received messages, seen our messages on Telegram from at least 3 of the 5 who are contributing to the course in various ways. A lot of our work is behind the scenes. And here's what you can expect from the TGLF team. So I just want to underline before we go any further who we are in this course and how you were selected by the World Health Organization for this pilot. As you may know, we received really a very large number of applications from all over the world in a very short period of time. Applicants contributed more than 500 success stories, lessons learned, challenges. If you attended the special event, you got to feel some and hear and discuss some of these narratives that were shared by applicants. And now here we are, 102 people who were selected by WHO, a very difficult process. And for those of you who are here, just be aware and think about what this means for your motivation. Basically less than 10% of those who applied were selected. So as you negotiate and how you're going to make it through this course with your competing priorities, with very demanding professional work, with of course also personal life, consider that you are really one of the few, and we hope that will help you firm your commitment and find the right survival strategy. This group is almost evenly split between men and women. You can see there's a good age distribution. Where participants live, you can see there are people from 47 countries in this, and probably at least 4 or 5 continents. I don't know. Perhaps Ja is able to already knows that. And then if we look at the number of accepted applicants, you can see that many countries have one person that was selected. And so if you're that one person from Cameroon or that one person from Dominica, I would say, I don't want to overdo it, but I would say that you are just like in the Olympics. Some countries send 1 or 2 representatives. Well, it's like that. Yes, you will be informally, in some ways, representing your country in the coming weeks. And as you think about your motivation, as you think about how you're going to organize your time around this course, that may be something to consider. Now, organizational affiliation. Most of you work in public hospitals and health facilities, as you can see, but there's also a healthy mix of people from different types of organizations. This is a very experienced group with pediatric imaging. You can see here we have more than a third that have between 11 and 20 years of experience. If you add that, it's almost half have really significant experience. I'd like to ask for your indulgence toward the 1% who have between 2 and 5 years, which is far from insignificant. But in a course as diverse as this, with people coming from so many different countries, so many backgrounds, indulgence and mutual support are really going to be 2 of the calling words that will make the big difference, not only in your experience of the course, but in the experience we have collectively together. You can see here 62, so almost 2/3 perform radiological imaging procedures. Little less than a third refer pediatric patients for imaging. And then we also have some teachers and researchers in the group. So again, a lot of diversity. Specific area of work or discipline, you can see radiographers and radiological technologists are the largest contingent in the course, but you can see there's all kinds of specialties also represented here. Now, almost half of you perform imaging in pediatric patients on a daily basis, and 1 in 5 on a weekly basis, as you can see here. Referring pediatric patients, children and teenagers and babies. You can see here, it's more of a mixed, but it's still a third of you do so on a daily basis. Now, we asked you, of course, about the foundational document at the time of the application, and almost half of you, surprisingly, had already heard of the document, but a third of you hadn't. By now, I would encourage you, once you have completed the onboarding tasks, you want to make sure that you've actually started to dive into that document. Look at it, try to understand its structure, try to understand what it's about. We'll be working through the process, but our focus will really be practice-oriented on trying to support you in you putting that document to use rather than spending 6 weeks reading through chapters or what have you. So that is really, again, part of how we are respecting you as an adult professional, as an adult learner, is we know that the knowledge acquisition part of the course is really your responsibility. You'll need to do that in order to then focus your energy and your time on the assignments, on the practical work related to your own context of work. Almost, 4/5 have taken a course, an online course before. I'd like to say two things. One is this course may be significantly different than other online courses that you have taken. There are a number of principles and a number of tools and a number of practices that we have that may be very unlike what you are used to. So you maybe find yourself challenged even if you have taken many online courses before. And for the 18% for whom this is your first online experience, well, again, there will be a process of discovery. We'll be there to support you. And I would ask your more online learning experience colleagues to, again, show their understanding. And once you've completed your task, once you've done what you have to do, if you can reach out and help those who may be facing difficulties because they've never done this before, that's also much, much appreciated. Now, in terms of the commitment, we have here a problem. All right, I'm going to be very honest with you. You see there's a part here. Let me see if I can point to it. Yeah, right here, that is red. The course announcement explicitly said that the course would require at least 6 hours per week. We know many of you are busy, but if you're amongst those who checked, I only have 1 or 2 hours per week, or I only have 3 to 5 hours per week on this course, I would ask that you reconsider and take a hard look, take really stock of what your schedule looks like in the coming weeks, and figure out where you are going to find extra time, because most people are not going to be able to complete the assignments and the tasks and the main course project if they have less than 6 hours per week to dedicate to the course. Now, that may seem harsh, but this is, again, just sharing with you what the experience have been of learners in the past. Do not underestimate how demanding this is going to be for you. And even if you are, you may find that the assignments, that there's no difficulty inherent in the assignments themselves, but they will require significant time to complete. And that is what we really want you to think about here. Now, over the years, and we have thousands of people who have gone through this peer learning approach, what we call the scholar approach. We've asked alumni, what made the difference? What helped you actually make it through the course? And you can see the answer here. It's really being what one scholar, Ajit, called being regular. So really doing a daily check-in. And I'd like to encourage you, make sure this is a great way of testing that you've actually completed, that you've done the onboarding right. If you've completed the onboarding tasks, you can click on that link and go right to what is called the course dashboard. So this is onboarding week. I'm going to stop here, check if there are any questions. I see no questions in the Q&A so far. So I will proceed now to really show you in practice what you need to do to check that so far you've done everything that you were supposed to do. So the first way you can figure that out is really, have you seen the screen below? All right. So you can see that big purple bar here. It says it has the course title. It's got this big video here and it says chat open. So I'd like you to go to the chat. And if you have seen this, type yes. If you haven't seen this yet, type no. So I'm going to demonstrate and type yes. All right, and I see only yeses so far. Do not be embarrassed. The onboarding week is far from finished. So if you haven't seen this yet, just go ahead and type no, and we'll be able to, to explain. Okay, this is an amazing group. I see no no's so far, only yeses. Obviously a very positive group, and Musa even says many times. All right, that's wonderful. That you receive the onboarding instructions, and you're now able to navigate through onboarding week. You can see the different posts here. I'm not going to go any more into that. Now, anyone who is, okay, so for Maria, thank you, Maria, and Stephen, who say that they haven't seen the dashboard yet. All right. You need to, as quickly as possible, find that onboarding message, go back to it, and then it contains the instructions you need to actually log into. This is the dashboard. It's your personal learning space. It is where everything is going to happen in the course, except for peer review and the discussion group. So go more into that later. So I would ask you to reach out to us on Telegram or on the by email, so we can help you if you don't know how to get there. Now, here is a quick recap. Ja has prepared this, showing really the messages. It's 2 email messages and then the website. So there is a tutorial. So for Maria and Stephen, here, please take note of the tutorial. Don't try to watch it now, but after this briefing is over, you should be able to follow. And so the first message that you receive says your new Scholar account. The second message says you've been granted access to the course. And it's really, so here you have your username, which is the email address you use to apply for the course. And then your password is personal. Ja has blanked out hers. So make sure you take note of that password and that you're able to recall it. If you, for some reason, cannot find this new Scholar account email that contains your password, you can go to the sign-in page. And this is on learning.foundation/login, and there's a little link at the bottom that says you forgot password. You click there, you put in the email you used to apply, and you'll be able to reset your password. So as of Wednesday afternoon, we had 41 people who were already, as I said, onboarding week is not over. We have this briefing to make sure everyone's on track. So more than 40 people who'd been making progress. Ja, would you like to comment on that? Is that good or bad? What would be your advice for anybody who hasn't made it yet to learning.foundation?
Sure, Rita. It's just to say that we're still in onboarding week. So the next couple of slides, Rita, I believe that will show how to, there's a button that's not very obvious that you need to click to allow the course platform to record and track the progress that you're making. So Rita, if you can show those slides and really,
yep.
Exactly, so the complete lesson button. And also don't panic if you haven't done that. It's this week and also the next week is really trying to help you get familiar with the course platform, do a daily check-in. And if it's not 100%, it just means that you haven't clicked complete lesson for all the individual posts. But don't stress. Ask for support if you need. We're all here. You're not doing this alone. We have an amazing peer group as well as the course team with you in the room. So that's what I want to say. Back to you, Rita.
Great, thank you, Ja. It seems like you've got this deck memorized, yes, in terms of how to explain, how to get to the right place during onboarding week. So the points that Ja made about tracking your progress, if you don't click on complete lesson, then we don't know that you've actually looked at that page or looked at the video, or and so you may then receive warning messages saying, "Hey, what's going on? It looks like you're not making any progress." And again, the most diligent students will get very stressed out. You make it to 100% complete. You've gone through all the lessons, and then all of a sudden it goes back down to 75. So don't panic. Another tip is that for those of you who have constraints on the bandwidth you need, on your internet connectivity, I would recommend downloading the videos so you can watch them online, but that's streaming. We make all the videos available so you can download them to your hard disk and watch them offline, all of the key documents. Now that's not obvious. You see this little downward arrow with a little line under it, and it says 2 downloads. So that is where you find that information. Last but not least, and this is really consistent with what Ja just emphasized, is we have this saying in the course theme of, we don't want you to suffer in silence. The worst thing you can do, it's okay if you have challenges or something you can't figure out, you get stuck, but don't suffer in silence. And there's just one email where you need to that you can use at any time to get help. There's also, of course, the Telegram group. I'm going to say a little bit more about that. So still no questions in the Q&A. I'm hoping this is because it is very thorough. I'm being very thorough and comprehensive, but please don't hesitate. This is really about making sure that you are fully on board and know what to do next and are fully ready for orientation week and what comes next. In fact, here is basically the sort of week by week schedule and what you'll be doing within each week. So week -1 is this week, and it's about joining the course platforms. Next week, you'll have short daily tasks. So they won't take you very much time, but it's really about getting you into the rhythm of navigating the site, so the course, being regular, and building the habits that will take you through all the way to the 28th of May to have successfully completed the course. And again, we find that people who manage to really who complete onboarding early, who then are really on top of the short daily tasks, tend to be amongst those who finish. Then we have the first weekly assignment, along with a main course project that will be shared in week 1, if not earlier. And so the weekly assignment will drop on Friday. So if you need the weekend, you'll have next week Friday, that weekend, to work on your first assignment. It's part of our policy is not to grant extensions, and we realize some of you have only time on the weekends. If you organize your time that way, it's the weekend that comes right after when you receive the assignment. Now, after that first week, we'll be going into term break. So once you've gotten up and going, you've gotten going with a course, you understand how things work, you finish your first assignment, we then give you 2 weeks to really reflect. If you want to jump ahead with the coursework, with a study, with your main project, you're free to do that during that period. We'll be really dealing each week. We'll be updating you on the rest of the schedule, but the biggest single deadline for the entire course is on the 14th of May. This is when you submit your main project. And then there are weekly deadlines. Basically, every successive Friday, you will have an assignment due for weeks 1 through 3. And then the following week, you'll be peer reviewing the assignments from the previous week. You'll be given 3 assignments of your peers. I'm going to say more about that. And if it's not entirely clear right now, then we'll explain it in much greater detail. Now, you may have heard or seen a reference to the Creator Project. So it sounds very ambitious. This is the main course project, and you can see here the outline of what we are going to be asking you to do. And it's about preparing an action plan for your context, so for where you work. And we want to make it as real as possible, so that you may come out of the course with something you can actually use to improve radiation risk-benefit communication in your context. So how do you know what to put into this Creator Project? How do you understand what you're supposed to do? So we have something called the rubric. So even if you've never heard the term before, it's roughly what doctors would call a checklist, and it's basically the set of instructions for what needs to be in your main course project in your action plan. So you'll get this document, and you'll be able to read and review it early on, so that you can start working on that main course project as soon as possible. Then we have the 3 successive weekly assignments. And here you can see assignment 1, how are you currently communicating radiation risks and benefits? You can see the due date here. Again, remember, no extensions. So yes, we realize we're all busy. You'll have, for each of these assignments, you'll have a full weekend to work on it. And again, think of it as a hard deadline, as a hard non-negotiable deadline you have. And again, you are fully responsible for figuring out, when is midnight in Geneva, or when it's midnight in Geneva, what time it is where you are located. For week 2, we'll be really exploring how do you improve radiation risk-benefit dialogue. And you can see the deadline here. So the deadline is actually 2 weeks off because of our term break. And here you'll be practicing message mapping. Now, for those of you who've been reading the guideline, you already know about message mapping if you made it to chapter 3. Again, we're not going to be very didactic and tell you this week you should read chapter 3. We'll be respecting you as adult professionals. Just know that the guideline is the key resource for the course. If you don't use it, you're basically going to be making your life much, much more difficult for yourself and others. So that is assignment 2. Assignment 3 is about drafting a communication tool that you can use at work. So this is really about the draft, or the sort of outline or concept. And again, it needs to be done within a period of 7 days. So, again, part of the time pressure is about really focusing your energy and being efficient about how you use your time, which corresponds to reality of most people's professional context. You don't get 4 weeks off to develop a communication tool. You have to figure out how to do it as you're getting your daily tasks done. So what we recommend is that on Friday, you review the instructions for the assignment. All right. If you need that time during the weekend, then you've got Saturday and Sunday. On Monday, you'll find there'll be video tutorials that give you really guidance for the assignment. And it's set up so that on Monday, we explain the assignment and then we work through a sequence where by Thursday, the video tutorial really says, okay, if you're running out of time, you need to get the assignment done. Here are the suggestions, the advice, the recommendations. So the first recommendation is, next week, don't wait until Thursday. So again, we know how challenging it is. Time management is just the biggest challenge for adult learners, and we're conscious of that. But we really want to make sure that you are conscious of what's at stake and what the challenges are likely to be. So this is probably the final section of this briefing, and probably the most important one in many days. All right, I see a question from Maria Francesca. What does draft tool mean? So I'm going to turn to Ja, who worked closely with the subject matter experts, to quickly answer that one.
Sure, Rita. A draft tool, Maria, you're asking really a good question, and I know that you're really eager to dive into the coursework. That's great to see. It's basically a tool that you will create, a leaflet, a brochure, a poster, whichever form that you find most useful for your place of work, that you can directly then use and perhaps put on the wall where you work. But I will turn to Maria if you would like to explain a little bit more. But you will, Maria, for you to ask the question, you will find out more details as we go in the course.
Sure, I am happy to answer to Maria, one Maria to the other Maria. The draft tool, while it is called draft tool, we wanted to put the word draft at the very beginning because, as Cha explained, we are fully conscious that by no means you will develop a real communication tool in such a short time. So the purpose is that you will go through the instructions that you will see in the assignment the day you will receive the assignment. And I think, Cha, maybe you already said that this is sent every week, so you will not receive all the assignments together, except the project creator, but the others will go week by week. When you receive this assignment, you will have all the instructions available and tips to guide you on what you are expected to produce. But you will be expected to propose a tool that will help you to improve your communication skills, but also the effectiveness of the radiation risk communication in your workplace with patients or with your colleagues, or you will have to decide which will be your target audience. And you have instructions to propose the tool, to develop your key messages, but you will be learning every week more and more, of course, skills. So you will be getting some knowledge, but particularly some skills and at the end some competencies to propose that draft. I think this is enough for this question. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Maria. And yes, indeed, conscious of the time, we'll be explaining each of the assignments in great detail, giving you really the support that you need. And this is, in fact, the next section of the briefing. And as I said, probably the most important one. So here we have, again, a few pieces of advice, and these are really built from the feedback of learners. You'll see that at the end of each week, we ask for your feedback. We read every piece of feedback that we get, and this is what learners have consistently said makes a big difference in their success. So there are many ways to get support, and you may be kind of overwhelmed. Why are there all these ways of getting help? Why can't there just be one way? Well, we found that every learner is different. Every person has a different way of making progress through the course. And so we offer multiple options, and you get to choose which one works for you. So don't feel obligated to use all the support options. That would not be productive. But also, if you are very short on time, know that everything you need to complete the course is on learning.foundation. All right. And that is available at any time. That's where you find the tutorials and guidance. That's where you find what we call the explainers that really explain each assignment. That's where you can get advice and feedback from these subject matter experts. So even though we're going to go into all the different support options, at the end of the day, all you need is learning.foundation. So if you're short on time and you don't want to get distracted, you're not really interested, you simply don't have time because of your other commitments to engage socially with other participants, to do all these, to do the optional activities, just go to learning.foundation once a day and you'll figure out what you need to get done and then get it done. The other thing is that whenever you need support, wherever you are on learning.foundation, you'll see this little blue bubble. And this is also open 24 hours a day. And I'm proud to see that our usual reply time is under 20 minutes. I'm even going to make that bigger because of how great I think that is. So basically, this means at least at sort of Geneva open hours, and that may be in the middle of the night for you. So in those cases, you may have to wait. Our usual reply time is very quick. You can ask your question. And now some people use this to say hello or to send sort of random comments. Please don't do that, all right? Because we read every message that comes in. It's an important part of the support system. The other thing is the Telegram group. So somebody asked for the link to join. So if you haven't, that link was shared with you. Let me just go see here. Yeah, so that's the link to join, and I'm gonna go just make sure this is spotlighted for everyone. And so Telegram is optional. Some people hate it because you get everybody's messages, and with a global course with up to 100 people sending messages, it can be a lot. So please be responsible. Before you send out a message, ask yourself, is this really of interest to everyone in the course? Is there another way to get the support that I need? But if you keep those rules in mind, then the Telegram channel can be wonderful. And if you find it too much, you can mute the group so you stop receiving the notifications, or you can just leave the group. And then there is a channel where you will receive only the official announcements from the course team. And of course, there are far fewer messages like that than there are. But some people will enjoy it, some people won't. Figure out which category you fall into, and then act accordingly. So this is just an overview of the support system. So there are two kinds of support. There's support that you can access at any time. So of course, what everyone wants, what every one of us would like, is to spend some quality time with Don Frush, Maria Perez, and Joanna Casnia-Brown. And you actually are going to get that. All three of them are going to be available for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, let me clarify what I mean, is that we've recorded their expertise into a set of video tutorials. And we've done it in such a way, what we asked them to do was, if you were sitting side by side with a colleague from a country and you were helping them with the assignment, what would you tell them? How would you walk them through the assignment? And that is what you'll find in the videos, is exactly what they would do if they were sitting next to you in your hospital, in your facility. And that you can get at any time. Think about it. 3 global experts at your disposal, at your call. You call on them, you go to learning.foundation, and you will find everything you need to help you, so they can help you through the assignment without actually having to demand their time for 100 times. Second is the other support you can get at any time is the support from your peers. And so that's the peer group on Telegram, and you'll be receiving soon the invitation to a remote coffee. So you'll be randomly matched with someone else in the course, and you get to have a coffee with them. And maybe you become friends. Maybe you decide to support each other in the course, or maybe you don't. Maybe the person is too busy to respond, they're not really interested in engaging socially, but you'll get to at least one social call. And then, of course, you're free to meet others in the course, and there may be many other ways that you work together. Next is a support that is offered at specific times, and that's really the weekly discussion group and then the peer review process. So weekly discussion group, as I say, not only is it mandatory, it's a certification requirement, but it's also the one time in the week when everyone is together. So that's actually quite important. And then peer review, you'll discover you won't actually be, it won't happen you won't be connected to each other at the same time when you do it, but you'll get to look at the work produced by your colleagues, and you'll be asked to think about it and actually help them, advise them on how they can improve their work. And there'll be 3 of your peers doing the same thing for you. And you'll discover that is actually an amazing form of support. By helping others, you are helping yourself figure out how to improve your own work. So that is the support system. And that's actually the perfect segue into how will we learn together? What is going to be so different about this course? And that's really, the concept of peer learning. Now, what we found is we've seen some people come in with a very negative attitude, sort of complaining, there are too many platforms, I don't understand what I'm supposed to do, the instructions aren't clear. And we tend to find that those people generally are not very willing to help others, even if they have figured some things out. And so we found that these 2 things actually are really important in actually helping you make it through the course. Just having a positive attitude and saying, okay, yes, there's probably a reason for why there are many platforms, for example. There's probably, somebody has done some thinking about this, and maybe I can learn to trust the process. And nowhere is that more important. Potentially frustrating, potentially scary, but also very important with peer learning. So your peers are going to depend on you, and you are going to depend on them. So in the individual learning course, if you're a good student, you do your coursework, you pay attention, and you make it through the course. This course is going to be different. You're going to be dependent on others. All right. And everyone agrees with peer learning in principle, but it's very scary. How do I know that my peer actually knows what they're talking about? What if they don't? And they're being asked to make judgments or give me feedback? How would they know? So here is, what peer learning looks like. Structured peer review is probably one of the most powerful ways in which you'll experience that connection with your peers without actually being speaking with them or directly engaging with them, but engaging with their work and thinking deeply about it in a very structured way. And we've consistently seen feedback like this. Every time I comment to a peer, I actually feel that I'm telling the same thing to myself. Or here we have another testimonial from a previous course. I found reviewing other people's work was interesting because we all took the same data and presented it in so many different ways in terms of what we emphasized, what we left out, and the assertions we made. Third testimonial, the more we work with peers and get validation, the more confidence grows. So there's a confidence you receive from having an expert say, good job, but it's actually of a different nature as you gain confidence that you're able to discern what makes it a good job or not. Yes, and if it's not a good job, how you can actually make those improvements. And that is what you'll be getting in part from your peers and also from yourself. Now, what I would ask for those of you who are still skeptical or who say, okay, well, this sounds good, but I would rather just work with established experts rather than a group of people where I don't really know who knows what and to what extent I can trust them. Well, I would say trust the process. We're not going to be asking peers to substitute for experts. Maria, Dawn, Joanna are here with us and will be with us every step of the way. But expect yourself to be challenged until there's a moment where you realize that through peer review, all of a sudden you gained a new insight. You had a moment of significant learning. Something special happened and you made a leap in understanding that will actually really help you. And that can be really powerful in terms of strengthening your own learning. Now, as I said, this briefing is really the only time we will do an information dump. I've just run through 65 slides at a very rapid pace. Remember, you'll get the slides, you'll get the recording, take your time to go back through it, make sure you have sort of proper comprehension of the key points. But I want to mark a pause now. And for those of you who are familiar with Zoom rooms, you do have to find the little hand raised icon because we're using what's called Zoom webinars. And you can see 3 questions here. I'm going to put a little music for everyone to compose themselves. And think about these questions. When you're ready to answer, go ahead and raise your hand, and then we'll unmute your microphone or ask you to unmute your microphone, so we can actually you can actually introduce yourself and then answer these 3 questions. So this is really, now that you've heard our top tips in our experience, what's helped people make it through the course. How have you organized your time? Also, share with us. Tell us, what's your experience with pediatric imaging, and what's the biggest challenge that you face today in your work when communicating radiation risks and benefits? If you could tell us. All right, I see we have Mariella Golti. Yes, Mariella, you should now be able to unmute yourself.
Okay, hello, good morning. Can you listen to me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, my name is Mariela Golti. I am a nuclear medicine physician from Argentina. I don't live in Buenos Aires. I live in a small town. I have organized my time for having more time early in the morning. I do pediatric imaging every day, almost every day in my clinical practice because I do scintigraphy in children, sometimes PET-CT. And the biggest challenge I face today and every day is to make the people understand that nuclear medicine is useful, and we are very involved in radiation risk. So I think this will help me a lot to communicate my colleagues the importance of nuclear medicine in pediatrician. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mariela Agolti from Argentina. We have more. Okay, wonderful. We have lots of hands going up. Let's go to Amani El-Bihibiti. And please correct me. I am going to mispronounce your names. I apologize for that. And it's just part of getting to know each other in a global course. Amani, please go ahead and unmute yourself. You'll need to find the button to tap or to do that. And then let's go to, while Amani is finding the unmute button, let's go to Horace Condoni. Horace, you can now also unmute yourself. We'll see. Okay.
Hi.
Amani, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah.
Horace, we'll put you on hold for now. Amani, please introduce yourself and let's hear your thoughts on these three questions.
I'm a neonatologist. I'm Amani Rida, like your name, so you may call it Amani Rida. And today I went to my work very early, so I can finish my to-do list and be on time here. And I'm very grateful that I've been chosen. I'm a neonatologist and I'm doing a point-of-care ultrasound since 2005 and in our neonatal unit, University College Hospital. And during this time, we are trying with our pediatric neurosurgeons and pediatric neuro surgeons that we may use the ultrasound instead of a lot of CT to avoid manipulation, excessive manipulation to our tiny babies. And I think that now, 2021, it took us a very long time, almost 15 years, but they are convinced now that they can rely on our ultrasound reports. We do it ourselves, and they use it for diagnosis, follow-up, and I do believe that we convinced them that me and our team, of course, in the neonatal unit, that we may rely on ultrasound, and then we may use MRI instead of CT. I'm very happy. I'm looking. They avoided first because they are lean to the picture CT. They are accustomed to it. They use it for a long time, so they were against using ultrasound. Someone told me, we don't use ultrasound, we don't know ultrasound, but by time we are doing fine. And I'm looking forward to this course to enhance communication with them, because again, every time we may got a professor or so that refused to rely on ultrasound or even on MRI and ask for CT. and I'm looking forward to convince them by this course. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Amani. So we have Amel El Taher, who is not a learner in this course, but who is an alumna of, who has successfully completed many of the Foundation's scholar courses, who has a couple of comments that may be useful. So this is someone who has been very successful in courses like this one. This is the best way to enjoy the Telegram group is just mute it once, you get free, and go through messages and pick all those relevant that you can you can find the benefits. And then one of the best ways is peer review. For me, it is very useful and supported in many perspective. Thanks. All right, thank you, Amel. So this is live advice coming in from Amel, who's been watching this briefing, even if she is not a participant in the course. So let's see. We have all right. We have let me count: 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 12. So we have 13 hands raised. Let me. So we had Horace Condoni. Horace, and then
yes, hello.
Yes,
hello everyone.
A warm welcome to you.
I'm Horace Condon from Salima District Hospital in Malawi. I'm a radiographer, and I've organized my work on this course that every day I'll be checking in the learning platform and check an assignment on daily basis. And my experience in pediatric imaging is that on daily basis I do perform pediatric imaging or on different scenarios, ranging from trauma and maybe respiratory infections, that is chest X-rays. So I've worked for over 14 years. So I've got at least a vast experience in pediatric imaging. The challenge that I get in doing my daily tasks is that when I'm communicating the radiation risks and benefits to either to the guardian or to my fellow colleagues, the one who refer the cases, is that mostly the guardians and my fellow worker, they don't have the vast background of radiation. So it's difficult to understand each other because it's only me on top knowing most of the radiation risks and benefits. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Horace Condoni. We're going to mark a pause here now to turn to the subject matter experts. We call them SMEs. So let's go now to, I suggest the same, let's say Maria, Joanna, and then Don, if you'd like to respond or comment or share your thoughts or insights in response to these quick presentations from participants.
Thank you very much. I will start, but very shortly, because I want to give the floor to Don and Joanna, because they are in the hospitals. But in my experience, what I have heard already is really very encouraging in terms of how rich this course will be, because we are already hearing from different perspectives, different settings, different countries, but similar challenges. This is the interesting point for me, at least. Challenges to communicate with colleagues and successfully having convinced them. So already you have succeeded, but I'm sure you will improve your skills, and we all will learn with you. So this is my first and very short comment, and I prefer to give the floor to Joanna and to Don now. Thank you.
Great, Joanna, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Maria. And I do agree. I think that it depends whenever we leave. There are different countries, different modalities, different services and levels of the imaging. But I think that the situation and the problems, the questions will be always the same, because parents are the same, children are the same, and they will be asking us the same question. And our colleagues are the same. slightly different level? Is it the X-ray? Is it fluoroscopy? Will be very, very similar. And this is really nice what you all pointed out together, that working as a one big team, it will be incredible because we can share our experiences together and we can learn from each other. Maybe someone from Malawi sorted the situation already, how to communicate the experience, and other people with the similar level of equipment can just take it on. Argentina is very, very active. So I think that being and sharing it, especially doing a peer learning, will be very, very important for us. And I'm really looking to be part of your group and a smaller working group together.
Thank you, Joanna. Let's go now to Don Fresh for comments, insights, reflections on just the 3 very quick presentations. We'll be doing a lot more of this, a lot more throughout the course. Don?
It's really hard to add to what Joanna and Maria have said. They summed up so excellently the comments that have come in from those initial participants in the course. I just want to reiterate that it is so exciting to hear the commitment by you all echoed in these 3 voices about, as Joanna points out, the shared problems, shared concern, but mostly the shared passion for working these things out and stepping back when this document on risk communication was crafted a number of years ago. It was anticipated that beyond just having that as a resource, there would be just these kinds of things that the Learning Foundation has done to be able to connect directly with you all and to emphasize the fact that your input, your comments, your questions reinforce the learning for everybody, and also speaking on the behalf of Joanna and Maria, reinforce our ability to approach these things on a much more global effort. So I really look forward to these kinds of discussions.
Great, thank you, Don, and all 3 of our subject matter experts, as well as our very first presenters. I'd like to go now to Tatiana Fazekas. You'll correct any mispronunciation of your name, but Tatiana, we would love to hear from you in answer to these 3 questions. And we have one more thing to do, and it's one really, really important task in this onboarding briefing that, again, can make the difference between success or not success in this course. Tatiana, would love to hear from you first.
Thank you very much. My name is Tatiana Fazekas. I'm a pediatric radiology from Brazil. And I will try to organize my course. Then I changed my schedule to have some free time just to do it, because I think it's very important, and I'm very proud and happy to be one of the chosen one. My experience in pediatric imaging, I am a pediatric radiology for over 20 years. I am chief of a public hospital here in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and I will become the president of the Latin American Society of Pediatric Radiology on Saturday. So I intend to pass to the others everything that we learn here together in the next years. I think the biggest challenge in pediatric radiology daily is to make the colleague to justify the exam. I think it's the point. The exam will change the diagnosis, will change the way that you're going to treat your patient, and if so, it is justified, and then we can do it. Otherwise, it's not the time to do it. Better we reveal the indication of the exam. I think it's the biggest challenge. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Tatiana. We are almost out of time, and we have one more thing that can really make the difference for the rest, for the coming weeks. For you, Tatiana, Horace, Mariella, and others. I appreciate so many raised hands. That's wonderful to see, but we do have to get this one thing done. And here it is. All right, so you have an option at this point, and this is the last time, really. This is like the last exit on the highway, all right? there is no dishonor if, having heard this and having sort of been given the chance to assess what's involved in the course, how it's actually going to work, what the assignments and the main project are going to be about, who else is in this course. This is the last time we will explicitly say, if this course is not for you, we just ask you to tell us why, and you can still opt out. Conversely, if you're ready to commit to the course, and not only that, but to commit to supporting your colleagues, you have time blocked in your calendar, you know where you are going to find the time to work through these challenging assignments, and you're ready for orientation week, then you are ready to go. And I'd like to ask you to go to the chat window and type go if you are ready. So we have 76 people in the room, so let's see how many goes. All right, and feel free to add exclamation points. All right, we have 5, 6 people. All right, 7, 8. Okay, all right, this is reassuring. Add as many exclamation points and O's as you wish, but really, this is the moment when you crystallize your commitment to the course. So I'd like to offer to, in response to all these goes, I'd like to ask you, even if you're alone in front of your computer screen and your colleagues are going to look at you funny, go ahead and give yourselves a round of applause for that commitment, for making this commitment. And it is going to be a marathon. So making it through onboarding week is good, but there are many more weeks to go, along with so many complex competing priorities, especially in this time of the pandemic, and no more so than for health professionals, perhaps. So this is it. All right, I believe we're pretty close to 76 goes. Thank you, Chizoba, for a triple go. And this is really the spirit with which we want to finish this briefing. This course is going to be driven by your experience, driven by your commitment to improve radiation risk communication. So here are the next steps. You can get ready for orientation week. So you'll find information about it tomorrow, but really it's starting Monday. You'll find a new post with a short task to complete every day. Some of these take 5 or 10 minutes, some a few more minutes. They're short, but it's about being regular. And so everyone starts on orientation week. Do your daily check-in. Make sure that you are fully on board. Go back to the recording of the briefing if you're not sure. And then last but not least, yes, we welcome your feedback for this discussion. So we'll end. We use different musical styles, and we're used to cold technical presentations, and they're important in most medical and public health professions, but we also want to bring some emotion and some warmth, as we are human beings connecting to each other in order to try to make things better for children and their families, and for the medical and public health professions. So once again, thank you. Looking forward to working with you and learning with you for the rest of this course. And we try to be really respectful of your time, so we are ending 1 minute early today. What I'm going to do now is just ask, I'm just going to unmute all the panelists so that they can share a final message with you as we go. And in no particular order. And if we make a little bit of noise, that's okay.
Let's do it.
All right.
So, anyway, great learning experience to everyone.
Hello.
We wish you very successful experience, and I was motivated, but now I am even more motivated to go with all of you ahead.
Thank you, Maria, Don, and Joanna. Very much looking forward to this, and see you soon.